after-school special.
Yes?
Is Dr. Alan Quartermain in? I'm from Estates Unlimited.
Well, yes, he is. He's here.
I'm so excited. I can't wait for you to see the place that I found for you.
Really?
It's
Hello,
delightful.
Mrs. Kincaid. Have you found us a house?
Yes, and I was just about to tell your wife
It doesn't
about it.
concern her. Let's go in the living room. My father will be down shortly.
Frisco, wake up.
Hi.
What are you doing?
What?
Frisco, you were sleeping. Now, what are you doing here so early?
I was cramming for these exams. I guess I dozed off.
Well, no wonder. I don't know how you're able to stand up these days.
But you're studying just as hard as I am.
Yes, but I'm not spending all my time on Kevin O'Connor's case. When do you sleep anyway?
Whenever and wherever I can.
So I see. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Why are you doing this? I mean, you thought Kevin was guilty at first.
I never said that.
No, you didn't say it, but you thought it. At least you thought Kevin or Patrick was the killer.
Yeah, I did.
Why are you doing this? Why are you spending all your time to clear Kevin?
All right, this is just between us, all right, Sam?
Okay.
I'm doing it because of Terry. I want to believe that Kevin is innocent. I want to believe that.
Oh, that's a professional cop's attitude.
Sam, I don't believe Terry could be married to him if she thought he was a killer. She'd know it. She'd sense it.
Obviously, Anna doesn't see it that way.
Yeah. It's not a great feeling being on opposite sides as Anna, too.
I'm sure it's not. Well, how's it going, anyway? Do you have anything that could help Kevin?
A few things. There's something about this librarian, Lucy Coe. Something about her just isn't right.
Sheriff, where's Ted this morning? He should be here.
Oh, didn't he tell you? He had to fly back to Lawton late last night.
Back to Laurelton. Why?
Murder trial or not, Tim, the business of Purity Water Company still has to go on.
That seems like you'd be here with my son. Son, how are you?
Oh, hi.
Hi, Ted. How are you doing?
I didn't sleep last night.
Oh, neither did I. Jake, what are you going to do?
You two are going to have to be cool today. Act confident in front of that jury.
That's kind of hard to do, Jake, after Lucy Coe just destroyed my alibi.
We'll go after Lucy Coe when the time comes. The important thing right now is to erase the jury's picture of you.
What are you talking about?
Baby-faced killer with the bad temper.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what the newspapers are saying.
I wish I could take the stand.
Who is going to take the stand first?
Someone who knows and loves you best in all the world. We're up against the ropes, Kevin. We have to fight with whatever we have.
All rise. This court is now in session. Case of the people of the state of New York versus Kevin O'Connor. Honorable Judge Anderson presiding. Be seated.
Mr. Madison, does the prosecution have any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor. The prosecution rests.
All right. Mr. Meyer, you call the first witness for the defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. Defense calls Mrs. Kathleen O'Connor. And Mrs. O'Connor, have you ever seen Kevin display a violent temper?
No, never.
Do you think he could kill Jennifer Talbot?
Objection. Speculation on the part of the witness.
Sustained.
Mrs. O'Connor, have you ever heard Kevin say he disliked Jennifer Talbot?
No.
Have you ever heard him say anything at all against Jennifer Talbot?
No, never. My son loved Jennifer, even before he married her granddaughter.
Mrs. O'Connor, has Kevin ever told you why he wanted to become a doctor?
Yes, he did. He couldn't stand to see things die. And as a child, he would cry if anyone killed an ant or intentionally killed an insect. He believed that all God's creatures deserve to live, and he wanted to dedicate himself to saving lives.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Your witness, Counselor.
No questions, Your Honor.
You may step down.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got here a bit late. Did I miss anything?
No, Mrs. O'Connor was Jake's first witness. I'd only lose points with the jury if I throw in there.
No, absolutely.
Your Honor, defense would like to call Patrick O'Connor, please.
Patrick O'Connor.
You are still under oath, Dr. O'Connor.
Yeah. State your name for the record, please.
Patrick O'Connor.
And you are the brother of the defendant, Kevin O'Connor.
That's
isn't that
right.
correct? Would you explain your relationship to the jury, please?
Well, we're very close.
You get along?
Oh, as well as most brothers.
Do you think he's capable of murder?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, this is a character witness for the defendant. Who would know him better than his brother?
Your question calls for conjecture nonetheless. Objection sustained.
Well, it's not conjecture. I know my brother wouldn't hurt anybody.
Dr. O'Connor, just answer the questions. The jury will disregard the witness's last statement.
If you were in a medical emergency with your brother, would you trust him with your life?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. No more questions.
Dr. O'Connor, you've just stated that you and your brother are very close, correct?
That's right.
And that you get along as well as most brothers.
Yes.
Does your brother have a violent temper?
No.
Does your brother ever physically attack you, Dr. O'Connor?
Attack me? No.
Please
Of course.
consider your answer carefully. And remember that you are under oath. Now, isn't it true that your brother has attacked you physically on more than one occasion?
Well, we've had our share of fights, but I wouldn't call it physically attack.
Would you call them arguments?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes. And were these arguments ever so serious that your brother hit you? Knocked you to the floor, in fact. There are witnesses who can...
Objection! Your Honor, the prosecution's never called any of these witnesses.
Sustained.
Dr. O'Connor, did your brother fly into a rage and physically attack you the day he got back from his honeymoon?
Yes, but he
No further
was
questions, Your Honor.
Oh, wait a minute. I want to explain that.
The witness will remain seated. Mr. Meyer?
No further questions, Your Honor.
And now you may step down, Dr. O'Connor.
Jake, why don't you ask Patrick why we were fighting?
Because I want to get off the subject of your bad temper. Your Honor, the defense would like to call for the next witness, Sheriff Hal Broder.
Sheriff Ralph Broder, please take a stand.
Hey, I'm sorry. Not that that helped much. You had to tell the truth, Patrick.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name.
Hal Broder.
Sheriff Broder, how long have you known Kevin?
Oh, all of his life. He grew up in Lawton.
Did you know him well?
Yeah, real well. His family and me are close friends.
And in all the time that you were sheriff of Laurelton, have you ever had a reason to arrest Kevin?
Never.
And as close friends of his parents, did you ever know Kevin to give them any trouble at all?
No. Never.
You and the O'Connors belong to the same church, isn't that right?
Oh, yes.
Didn't Kevin win an award for never missing a choir rehearsal or never missing singing on a Sunday?
That's right. I want to tell you, if all those kids in Lawton were as clean living as Kevin, I probably wouldn't even have a job.
Thank you, Sheriff. No more questions.
Sheriff Broder, I have one question. Did the O'Connor brothers get along?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for an opinion.
All right, strike that. Did you ever see Kevin O'Connor behaving violently?
You mean while he was living in Lawton?
No, Sheriff. I mean at any time.
Well, yeah, there was one time on the streets in Lawton just before the wedding. A buddy of Kevin's brother said something bad about his bride, you know.
And did Kevin physically attack the buddy?
Well, I want to tell you, the boy was really out of line.
Would you just answer the question, Sheriff?
Yes.
Your witness, Counselor.
No further questions, Your Honor.
So, just remember that the rules are different when you're dealing with juveniles, even if those juveniles are committing adult crimes. All right, I want you all to study Chapter 20 thoroughly. There'll be a quiz on this next week, right? Right. Okay, I'm going to make this the last class of the day so our probationers have a little extra time to study for their makeup exam. We don't want any of them to fail out, do we? No, we don't want to diminish our class by 4 extra people. Okay, class, attention. Dismissed.
Sir,
Yes.
listen, I appreciate the extra time for the studying. I just want to ask you something.
Yeah, what is it?
Okay, the new material we're going to be tested on, it's going to be, well, it's going to be the same as the original material we studied, right?
Absolutely. In addition to chapters 15 through 18.
I'm not going to have time to study for that. There's no way.
Let me talk to you. Sir?
What is it, Case?
Do you really think it's fair that our makeup exam should cover more material than the original?
Fair? I think I've been more than fair. I could have washed you people out weeks ago. I've given you extra time to study for your makeup exam. I think I've been more than... As a matter of fact, be prepared to answer questions on 19 and 20, as well as the original material. Have a nice day.
You know, Eric, the next time you want to help us out, just shut up, okay? Just...
Yeah. Thanks a lot, partner.
Sorry.
So you've got to pass this test.
We all have to pass the test, Sam.
I know, but I'm thinking about you and Felicia wanting to get married after graduation. You'd better forget about Kevin's case for a few days and concentrate on this test, don't you think?
I wish I could. But I can't. I have got to find a way to break Lucy Coe's testimony.
How?
I don't know. Maybe I could do something to get close to her.
I mean, lead her on a little?
Maybe. I don't like the idea, but it might be the only way that I can help Jake convince the jury to doubt her testimony.
Dr. Stryker, you have testified that from your experience, Kevin O'Connor is a model student. His work at the hospital has been exemplary. He's punctual, efficient, cooperative.
That's correct.
He doesn't strike you, then, as the kind of student who'd cut a class, even if he had some kind of urgent business to attend to?
I don't think so.
Not even if that urgent business were to kill a woman who knew he'd already murdered twice.
Your Honor.
Sustained. Question's out of line, Mr. Madison. Jury, disregard that last remark.
I am sorry, Your Honor. No further questions.
You may step down, Doctor.
Thank you.
I'd like to recall, please, John Hudson to the stand, Your Honor.
John Hudson to the stand.
Nice work, Brett.
Jake must be getting desperate calling Hudson as a character witness.
Still under oath, Mr. Hudson.
Yes, sir.
All right, John. You testified earlier that you were at the lecture on the morning of March 17th between the hours of 7 and 8 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you refresh our memories about the lecture?
It was a lecture on clinical pathology by Professor Stevens.
And you never saw Kevin at the lecture. Is that right?
No, sir, I never saw him.
But you're sure you were there at the lecture March 17th between the hours of 7 and 8 a.m.
Absolutely.
Thank you, John. No more questions.
Mr. Madison?
No questions, Your Honor.
Witness may step down. Take a short recess.
All rise.
What's Jake up to? Calling Hudson only reinforced our case.
Jake, why didn't you attack him, make him admit he was lying?
What are you trying to pull?
Excuse me.
I knew we should have got that New York.
Molly, just wait a minute, all right? Now, Jake knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're right. See the faces on the jury?
Jimmy Lee, come on in. I think I found us the perfect house. Feast your eyes on those pictures.
Well, that's very impressive.
Oh, Alan, it's enormous. Do we really need anything so grand.
Absolutely. We are going to be entertaining the cream of international society when the money starts rolling in.
How much is that place?
It's a steal at $3.2 million.
That's a steal.
We'll need 20 servants.
Mother, we shall have them. I can't wait for Monica to see this place. I think maybe we should invite her to our first big ball.
She's still getting a divorce?
Can't wait to see her turn green with envy.
Alan, I don't think Monica will be swayed by a house.
Mother, Monica has ordered us out of this house, all of us. We have to find a place to live.
Look, Alan, I'm sorry. Lorena was obviously lying when she told me that Sean and Monica were having an affair.
I wouldn't be too sure about that, Jimmy Lee. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But I think you should get that Chuck Morrison back on the job, watching Monica and Donnelly.
I've already thought of that.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad to hear it, because we're going to need all the evidence we can get against her. It turns out there's a divorce proceeding.
Oh, I do wish you'd stop talking divorce. Alan, can't you and Monica work this out?
I'm willing to try, Mother, but she isn't.
I'm getting out of here.
Where are you going?
All this talk of divorce is making me think of Celia.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear. You're still very upset about her, aren't you?
Yeah. I guess I've refused to believe it by pretending it hasn't happened, by lying to myself, by avoiding all my friends.
Hi, Bill.
One way.
Rick, do you have a minute, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Okay.
Hey, Bill. Thought you might like the lecture schedule for tomorrow.
Thank you, Amy. Listen, does this mean the ice is beginning to thaw? Or?
You know, I never was very good at holding a grudge for too long.
Listen, you want to maybe have lunch one of these days, or?
Sure, I'd love to.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you're on.
So, things look bad for Kevin.
I'm sorry to hear that.
One of the things that worries me about this is that, innocent or guilty, we're going to have personnel problems if Kevin is acquitted and comes back to the hospital.
You're talking about the reactions of the staff.
Well, that sort of thing works. Yeah. Which brings me to the subject of your good friend, Monica. You know she's asked Alan for a divorce.
Yes, I know that.
I don't mean this to sound like gossip, but somebody has got to talk to her and warn her to be careful.
Rick, Buzz, how are things going?
Hello, Brian.
Well, you know, it's never dull here at General Hospital. How are things going with getting that reporter prosecuted?
I'm, working on that. My department thinks we have a good case.
I think you have an excellent case. The woman died because that reporter was harassing Patrick O'Connor.
I agree, and I have a personal interest in the case since she was one of my social service clients.
Well, Steve is furious, too. He'll go the limit to see that reporter's prosecuted.
We're all behind him 100%.
Definitely.
Well, I'll keep you informed of what the DA says, okay?
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi.
Hi, Brian.
How are you?
Dr. Weber?
Debbie,
hello there.
Things going?
Oh, things are fine at home.
Good.
And I heard Jeff went back to his foster parents.
Yes, and he seems to be adjusting very well.
Oh, good.
And you know something? His problems seem small compared to what Kevin's going through. How is the trial coming, Buzz?
I testified for Kevin. The district attorney seems certain that Kevin is going to be found guilty.
Ruby, you run a diner on the waterfront called Kelly's, is that correct?
Yes, I do, and most of the people in this courtroom are my customers.
I'll bet that's true. But these customers consider Kelly's pretty much, well, an extension of home, don't they?
Objection, Your Honor. I don't see the relevance of this line of
Your
questioning.
Honor, I'm merely trying to establish that Miss Anderson here knows her customers well.
Overruled, Mr. Madison. Go ahead, Ruby.
Thank you. I like to think that my customers think of Kelly's as home.
Ruby, do you know the medical student who testified earlier, John Hudson?
Yes, I do. He's one of my regulars.
Is he in the courtroom now?
There he is.
Let the record show that the witness has identified John Hudson.
So noted.
Thank you. Ruby, you remember the morning of March 17th, St. Patrick's Day of this year?
I certainly do. It was my busiest day.
You remember seeing John Hudson at Kelly's that morning?
Yes, I do.
Order, please. Order in the court. What time, Ruby?
It was early, before 8 o'clock.
Are you sure about that, Ruby?
Absolutely.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Miss Anderson, if you were so busy that morning, how could you possibly remember whether John Hudson was there? More specifically, whether he was there before 8 o'clock.
Because he just polished off a helping of corned beef hash, and he asked for a second.
I'm afraid I don't understand. Could
Well,
you
if you'd
please...
let me finish, you would. I limited the corned beef hash to one a customer because I was running low. So it was before 8 o'clock when I did that. Now, does that help you out?
No more questions.
You may step down, Ruby.
I'd like to call Mr. Dan Rooney to the stand, Your Honor.
Dan Rooney.
What the hell is going on? Didn't you verify Hudson's story that he was at the lecture that morning?
I checked the professor's sign-in sheet. Hudson's name was on it.
So was Kevin O'Connor.
I do.
State your name.
Dan Rooney. Mr. Rooney, you were in Kelly's the morning of March 17th?
Yes, I was.
What time?
Well, from around 7 till about 8.
Do you remember seeing John Hudson in Kelly's that morning?
He was there.
And you're sure it was John Hudson, not somebody who looked like John Hudson?
I'm positive. I heard him trying to get another order of corned beef hash out of Ruby just as I was leaving.
No more questions, Your Honor. Would Your Honor instruct the witness, John Hudson, to stay in the courtroom? I have a few more questions for him.
The witness will remain until excused by the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Looks like we finally got some things going our way, Terry.
I know. I knew he was lying. I just couldn't figure out why.
Well, I think we'll find out as soon as Jake gets him back on the witness stand.
Your Honor, may I have a few moments to consult my associate?
Of course, Mr. Madison. Take your time.
Brett, I questioned him, and he swore that he was in class.
It's a great time to find out he was only there long enough to sign in for himself and Kevin.
Let's just hope that Lucy Coe's testimony holds up better than John Hudson's.
Oh, hello again.
Hi, Frisco. How did that book on forensics work out?
Oh, you saved my life. And listen, I remembered you said that you liked my record, so I took the liberty of getting you one.
Oh, no, I couldn't accept that, Frisco.
Well, why not? I mean, there's a couple decent songs on here, not many, but a couple.
Well, yeah, I know. I've heard it, and it's wonderful, but, well, I'm just not used to accepting gifts from strangers, that's all.
Strangers? Oh, come on, I thought we were friends. Come on. Here,
Well-
there's no strings attached, I promise.
Well,
You don't want to hurt my feelings, do you?
I couldn't do that. Thank you.
No. Thank you. This is for you, too. It's the first flower of spring.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, when I saw it, I thought of you immediately. Will you take that, too?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Actually, I was wondering what you were doing later.
Oh, well, my relief should be here pretty soon.
Oh, great. Can I give you a lift home?
No, remember my phobia.
Oh, yeah. Well, how about if I walk you?
No, look, that's really nice of you, but I don't know. I don't think I should be...
Lucy, please. I'm doing it to give you police protection.
Police protection?
Yes, you're a very important witness in that murder trial. Remember?
You are still under oath, Mr. Hudson?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Hudson, you heard the testimony of Ruby Anderson and Dan Rooney in court today?
Yes, I heard it.
You still insist that you were at the lecture the morning of March 17th between 7 and 8 a.m.?
Yes, I was there.
Well, how do you account for the fact that Dan and Ruby both saw you at Kelly's that morning? Didn't you go to Kelly's to have breakfast?
I might have gone there.
You might have? Don't you remember?
Yes, I went to Kelly's.
What time did you go there?
It was... after I signed in...
Mr. Hudson, do you know the penalty in this state for perjury? Now, do you still insist that you were at the lecture the morning of March 17th until it was over?
Objection, Your Honor. The defense is badgering this witness.
Objection overruled, Mr. Madison. Mr. Hudson, I advise you to think very carefully.
You
weren't at the lecture, were you, Mr. Hudson? You were at Kelly's having a St. Patrick's Day breakfast, weren't you? Weren't you?
I said I was there.
What time were you there? Were you there between the hours of 7 o'clock a.m. and 8 a.m. as Dan and Ruby have testified?
I guess...
I can't hear you, John. Were you there at Kelly's instead of being at the lecture?
Yes, I was at Kelly's.
So, you went to the lecture, you signed you and Kevin in, and then you left.
Objection.
You went to
The
Kelly's.
defense is putting words into the witness's mouth.
Have
Sustained.
Excuse me. Did you sign Kevin in because he asked you to because he'd be late?
Yes.
And then did you leave before class had started?
Yes.
Can you be absolutely sure now that Kevin was not there that morning between 7 and 8 o'clock?
No, I don't know if he was there or not.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Madison?
No questions, Your
The
Honor.
witness is excused.
I don't think that Park Avenue attorney could have done it any better, Jake.
All right. Let's not celebrate yet. We still have to discredit Lucy Coe and Red Flynn's testimony.
Chief Maintenance, Pat Sullivan, contact the 6th floor nurse's desk.
Hi. Listen, I'm going to go home. I don't feel very well. Would you ask Rick to check in on this patient of mine when he gets out of OR for me, please?
Sure. Are you okay to drive?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I just have a lousy headache. But don't forget to tell Rick about this.
I won't. Feel better.
I will, thank you. Hope so.
Hi, Monica.
Oh, hello, Jimmy Lee.
Look, I'm sorry I told Alan that you and Sean
Look,
were...
don't you apologize. You did me a favor, actually.
Monica, look, I'm really sorry.
No, really. I want this divorce. And I was just seeing how Alan behaved afterward that made me realize how much I wanted it. You.
Dr. Stephen Eisenberg, please call radiology. Dr. Stephen Eisenberg.
Well,
please call
hello,
radiology.
stranger.
How you doing, old buddy?
Surviving?
Look, I'm sorry I haven't been around for a while.
No, I figured you'd come up for air sooner or later. I figured you needed some time to lick your wounds.
Well, I'm done licking my wounds. You got some time for me today?
All the time in the world.
So, where do I start?
Jimmy Lee, you don't owe me any explanation about anything.
Come on, you're absolutely right about Celia from the start.
Celia's a lovely girl.
Yeah, but not right for a kid from the wrong side of the tracks.
You put her too high on a pedestal.
Yeah. And when the chips were down, she wouldn't believe that I wasn't messing around on her.
Because you had been messing around on her before you two got married, right?
Right. I guess I want her to be a quartermain. You know? Drink champagne, eat caviar, have the great life.
When in reality, you are a Holt who was raised on beer and pretzels.
Something like that, yeah.
ICU code red.
You know, you weren't ready for the kind of money you got out of Edward.
I guess not.
Remember, the only thing you wanted out of Edward was to find a father. Instead, you settled for a suitcase of money.
How did you ever become so smart?
No. No, I'm not smart. I just stubbed my toes a few times.
You have never failed at anything in your whole life. As a matter of fact, you don't even know what it feels like.
Let me tell you something, just between the two of us. I have failed at more things than I think you can possibly imagine.
I thought I knew you better than anybody.
You do. You just don't know it all. Anyway, I want you to stop beating yourself to death about this divorce, okay?
Okay.
I'm glad you're here.
Hey, Claudia, what's new?
Oh, nothing I can talk about. Have you seen Brian?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he went to the cafeteria with Debbie just a little while ago. Debbie.
Somehow I knew you were going to say that one.
Claudia, hi. How are you?
Where's Brian?
I left him in the cafeteria.
Debbie, I think it is fair for you to know I am not giving up on my husband.
Giving up?
Oh, you know what I mean. I'm warning you. Keep your hands off. He is still my husband.
Hey, what's going
Wait
on
a minute,
here?
Claudia. Brian and I are friends.
Keep
That's
it.
all.
Hey, listen, what do you mean by coming down here making a
She
scene?
thinks this is a scene. She knows the kind of scenes I can make.
All right, that's enough. Now, let's go. I'm sorry, Debbie.
Oh, don't be sorry to her. I have taken about all I'm going to
I
take.
said let's go.
Moody's office. Nurse Eric.
This is it.
Oh.
Thanks for walking me home.
Oh, well,
Aren't you going to invite me in?
Oh, no, I really couldn't. My landlady wouldn't approve.
Well, leave the door open then. I'm so thirsty after the walk. Aren't you a little thirsty?
Well, I guess I could use a cup of tea, maybe.
Oh, tea. That would be perfect. Well, this is really nice, Lucy.
Oh, thank you. You're the first man I've ever invited in.
You're kidding me. A pretty girl like you?
I'm not pretty.
What do you mean you're not pretty? Whoever said that? Why don't I get a little water for your flower here, okay?
Okay, oh, I just remembered I loaned my teapot to Mrs. Davis,
Who's she?
my landlady. I'd have to go up to the house to get it.
Oh, well, that's all right. I'll just wait here, okay? Is it all right if I wait here?
Okay. Okay, I'll be right back.
All right. Poems for my beloved.
Mrs. Davis burned the bottom of her pot the other day. She's really absent-minded.
Oh, better be careful of that. You don't want to start a fire.
I know. I told her that. Listen, I have some really wonderful herb tea, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, herb tea. It sounds great.
Okay. You know, this is really a treat for me. I don't know why I was so nervous about inviting you in.
Stretch, how long have you been playing for PCU?
This is my 4th year.
You remember a coach named Red Flynn?
Yes, sir. I knew him.
Is Red Flynn still coaching for the team?
No, not for the last couple of years.
Can you tell us why he's not coaching now?
Your Honor, I fail to see the connection between this line of questioning and the case before the bench.
Your Honor, if you will allow the questioning, I'll show the relevance.
All right, I'll allow it. But get to the point, Counselor. The hour is late.
Yes, Your Honor. Stretch, tell us what happened between you and Red Flynn.
He was assistant coach at the time. It was my first year on the team. He came to me and said, if I made sure our team lost the next game, he'd see to it I'd have a shiny new car in my driveway the next day.
And what did you reply to that?
I told him no way, and I went to the dean about it. Red was fired from coaching right after that.
Are you sure that Red was fired because he had offered bribes to other players on the team?
Your Honor, the witness has no way of proving there were other players involved.
Sustained. It's all right, Your Honor. I can subpoena the faculty records for proof. No more questions. I'd like to call Red Flynn to the stand, please.
Witness may step down.
Red Flynn?
You are still under oath, Mr. Flynn.
Well, Red, you heard the testimony of our friend Stretch over here that you were fired from the team for offering bribes to the other players.
Yeah, I heard.
Is it true, or do you deny it?
The kid lied.
I'd like you to take a look at Kevin O'Connor. Do you still insist that he is the man you saw at the airport the morning of March 17th with Jennifer Talbot?
He's the man.
I'd like the jury to take a look at Kevin O'Connor. And to take a look at our friend Stretch over here. Quite a remarkable resemblance, wouldn't you say? You must have felt a lot of animosity towards Stretch for costing you your job, don't you?
It was a long time ago.
Well, still, you'd feel an awful lot of anger towards this man for getting you fired.
Yeah, well, I was mad.
You admit there's quite a resemblance between those two, eh, Red?
Yeah, they look alike, but...
Red, I suggest that it was your subconscious anger with Stretch that caused you to identify Kevin O'Connor as the man at the airport that morning. That your prejudice and anger against this man, this young man who cost you the job that you love, caused you to identify Kevin O'Connor.
Wait a minute. Now, I know what I saw. And I saw that guy, Kevin O'Connor, at the airport. Now, believe me, if I'd have seen this other jerk, I would have fingered him with pleasure.
No more questions.
Hey, what, you think I can't tell the difference between these two? I'd know that little rat anywhere.
You may step down, Mr. Flynn. Court is adjourned until tomorrow morning.
All rise.
I told you you made a mistake. Where'd you find the guy Stretch?
Felicia found him.
Brooks, remind me to kiss her, all right?
Well, you nailed him. Way to go.
Nice work, Counselor. You discredited 2 out of 3 of the star witnesses. Yes, indeed.
Oh, thank you, Sheriff. But let's hope Frisco can come up with something on Lucy Coe that'll put her in the same coffin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would.
Yeah. The Friends' quarters here. They're just above the stable. I don't know. Did I mention to you I'm going to be looking at some thoroughbreds this
Alan,
weekend?
please. I have a splitting headache.
Oh, really? I thought you only got those at bedtime.
Very funny.
It wasn't meant to be funny, Monica. But since I've been living like a monk for the last few months, I guess it really is funny.
The house is gorgeous. I am green with envy. Are you satisfied?
No, I'm not satisfied. Not until you see the house. I watch you turn green. Then you're going to regret your decision ever to divorce me.
I don't think so.
Hey, Monica, this is me. This is Alan. I know you better than any human being alive. I know your greed and your desperate need to have everything bigger and better than everybody else. You know what? One day in the not-too-distant future, Monica, you're going to come crawling to the back door of that palatial estate, and you're going to beg me to take you back.
I will see you in hell first. I'll tell you something, Alan Quartermain. I will never come begging to you for anything. My son and I are going to live perfectly happy right here.
Oh, I think you'll be perfectly happy, but our son is coming to live with me.
I am warning you, I love my son, Alan, and don't you even think twice about trying to get custody of him.
We'll see about that.
No, we won't see about it. I mean it, Alan. You have no right.
Don't you start
Absolutely
making
no
threats
right.
to me, Monica.
I have been
Don't
very
make-
generous.
Keep it down. We can hear you all over the house.
Where do you
Somebody
think
at
you're
the
ever
front door.
Where do you think you're ever going to find a judge that's going to give you custody after the affair with Rick Weber and that...
hello, Rick.
I'm
not
intruding.
I'd like to see Alan and Monica. Yeah, well, they're in the living room.
Thank you. Don't you make me regret it. I'm telling you that.
You know, there was a time once when I would have...
Good. Rick, what are you doing here?
Well, he heard he was going to be one of the principals in a messy divorce trial.
Alan, will you control yourself? What can we do for you, Rick?
Well, I would actually like to talk to you about that divorce. In fact, I would like to convince the two of you to forget about it.
I'm not the one who's pushing for a divorce. You better talk to Monica.
I think you've both gone round the bend. A divorce is totally unnecessary and a damn nuisance at this point in time, if you ask me.
Nobody is asking you, Edward. And thank you again, Rick, for coming by. But my mind is made up. And as for you, Ellen, I hope you have arranged to have a fast escrow because I want you out of my house.
Monica, when I leave this house, I'm taking my son with me. How do you think it's going to sound in court when we start airing all the dirty linen again, Rick?
Yeah, I'd like to propose a toast to my brother's freedom and Jake's expertise.
Hear, hear.
Well, I have to admit that Jake really impressed me.
Yeah, we were wrong to think that Jake wasn't up to the job of defending Kevin, too.
I would say he did an excellent job. And Ruby, my love, you were sensational on the witness stand.
Yes, indeed.
So were you, Mr. Rooney, my love.
I'd like to propose a toast to both of you. You way you wiped up that kid Hudson was a sight to behold.
Here, here.
Yes, it was. Well, I just told the truth. And the truth shall set you free.
Yes, indeed.
Amen to that.
And here he comes now, the attorney of the year, Mr.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you, Patrick, everyone.
So, what's the plan for tomorrow?
Yeah, how are you going to prove Lucy was lying?
You really all shouldn't be celebrating yet. Lucy Coe is going to be a tough nut to crack.
Yes, but she was lying, Jake.
It's all very well and good, Terry, but the jury believed every word she said.
Okay, Alan, I've been figuring this out. If we use every available penny, we can buy the house.
Well, it's worth it. Have you seen these grounds?
Did you hear me? I said every available cent. I don't like it.
Father, there isn't another house like this on the eastern seaboard.
I am not talking about the house. I'm talking about the situation. I don't like playing things this close.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. Mr. Go for Broke's all of a sudden become a conservative.
No, but maybe we should postpone the investment until the stock does go public.
Father, if we don't grab that house right now, we're going to lose it.
Well, I don't know, Alan. Maybe we should ask Monica for an extension.
I wouldn't ask her for the time of day. No, sir. Besides, when this stock goes public in a few days, we're going to go to any bank in the world. We can borrow millions against it. I shall enjoy watching her eat crow.
Now, are you sure that stew's all right? Because you haven't eaten any of it.
Oh, yeah, Ruben, the stew's fine. I'm just worried about tomorrow.
Oh, Briscoe, I'm so glad to see you. I can't get that man to eat.
Thank goodness you're here. Did you see Lucy Coe?
Yeah, I just saw her. Patrick said you were here.
Well, what happened?
Not much.
Not much. I gotta put her on the stand tomorrow, Frisco. I need something to break her testimony. Come on, what did you find out?
She reminds me of a frigid old maid.
What do you mean a frigid old maid? The girl can't be more than 23 or 24 years
That's
old.
exactly what I mean, Jake. She's this young girl, right? I went by her apartment and, well, you should see how it's decorated, the whole thing. I found these poems, To My Beloved, it said. Something an old maid would write.
That's it.
What's it?
You may have just given me the lead that I need, Frisco.
What do you mean, the poems?
No. The fact that she's a frigid old maid. This is good.
Tonight at 9, 8 Central, Amanda's About